So, I said with The Lord of the Rings, I'll do one every single week. I'll just review one every single week. And then I ended up watching 2 in 1 week. And then it's like, And then I was like, we'll start The Hobbit next week. And then I watched The Hobbit a few days ago. Actually, 2 days after I watched Return of the King. And then I was like, and I'm probably going to take a break from it after that. And then I started Desolation of Smaug. I'm holding it upside down and I'm pronouncing it wrong. Desolation of Smaug. I don't even know how to say it. Smaug? I don't know how to say it. Point is, it'll be in the title of the video. If you want to hear the title, someone pronounce it right, go watch an actual professional critic who knows what they're doing instead of this gay fag on the internet posting videos about how crappy these movies are. It's like, you can tell I'm tired, because I am tired. I'm not, I don't know. I didn't like The Unexpected Journey that much. I mean, it was fine. If in retrospect, I was a little, I think the real major problem with this movie is not that the scenes are bad or they're tonally inconsistent too much. It's that really they're just too long. There's scenes that are good individually on their own, but you need to edit them down and make them more tonally consistent. They would have worked better. Like, each scene should have been like 20, at least 10 to 15 minutes shorter. They just went on a little too long. But I liked it for what it was. I didn't hate watching it. I was entertained. There were some good aspects to it, but it didn't feel like the Lord of the Rings movie where it's like you watch the second one and you're gonna probably appreciate it more, because when you watch Desolation of Smaug, I didn't appreciate it more. Yeah, I didn't like this one. This was not a Two Towers situations where I loved this one more than the first one, and then it gave me more appreciation for the first one. Now, this one is just plain bad. Because there is so much filler in this movie. They add Legolas in this movie. Legolas! He's in this movie for no reason. He's not in the book. And normally I don't compare movies to books, but it's like, they stretched this movie out just so they can add filler in it. So they had to pull crap out of thin air and give us fan service like Legolas and crap. It's like, come on. Really? The Smaug stuff took forever to get to that point when it should have been the majority of the movie. There is so much filler. It's unbelievable. They stop at this guy's house for a little bit and they stay there for a while and then they do this and do that. It's like, get to the freaking point. It was boring. It was boring. There was nothing happening, because what should have happened in just 2 movies is now being stretched to 3. Heck, it could have even been 1 movie, because how ridiculously long these movies are without actually doing anything. You know how many sequences are like, okay, we just waste time doing this, we waste time doing that. It's like, get to the point. And these movies, this one is 3 hours and 2 minutes. Hour and 6 minutes and has less happening than this one. It's longer. I can't even wrap my head around why these things are so long. They're not that good of movies. They're just ridiculously long to do nothing. What happens through the majority of this movie? Nothing. It's just a lot of wasted time. I'm not excited for Battle of Five Armies. Of course, I mean, this movie was so boring, I didn't even notice the musical score, which I've noticed in every single movie is really good. I'm sure it's good here, but I couldn't even notice because it was just like I couldn't even pay attention. A lot of the effects are a little bit better than they were in the first Hobbit, honestly. I think they're a little bit better in this one, but Smaug looks kind of cool, I guess, but I think there was a little too much CG around him too. I think all the performances are always going to be good in these movies, and they're not as good as they were in the first Hobbit though, because the first Hobbit, it was excellent, mostly because it hinged on those performances. This one less so. This one's more action, I would say. Like this one's more just like the setup, like Fellowship, and then this one's more action. But what I liked about Two Towers is the action in that one is like this is the setup. It's a pretty good setup, right? That's what Fellowship is. And you get to Two Towers, and it's more action, but it's also more character stuff, and that's what makes it good. And so I'm like, yeah, that's what I want to get to here. Is just how, well, I don't know how to explain it. It's just irritating to me that it's just this is, a lot of it is action, but there's no character behind it. There's no real intrigue. There's so much wasted space and time, and some people like this one more than the first movie because it has more action and they find that more entertaining. I don't. I could see how you could find that more entertaining, but here's my thing. What's the point of action if the action doesn't do anything? If it doesn't get to a point in the story? You're watching a cool moment, but as soon as it's done, you'll just forget about it and never think about it again. Which is not what I want from the freaking Lord of the Rings movies, which are the opposite of that. So yeah, I didn't like this one. I'm not excited to watch Battle of Five Armies, but I guarantee it'll probably be the next review I make. Not sure if it will for sure, but yeah. I mean, it's just probably just like put the darn movie, and it's shorter, so we'll see. Yeah, no, I'm looking forward to this one. It seems, I think this one's 2 hours and 44 minutes, so not that bad, but yeah, I'm just glad that I'm pretty much done with this franchise, honestly. It's not that these are really bad, it's just that there's nothing to get out of them. And it's kind of like watching the Star Wars prequels, right? Except I'm more of a fan of Star Wars, so I kind of give them a pass for this, but I mean, it is a problem that it's really just a movie for nerds to watch. If you're a Star Wars fan and you watch the prequels, you will probably like the prequels. It gives you lore about the universe that you don't need to know to understand it. You do not need to know Darth Vader's backstory and where he came from. Great, you got to know. But if you watch the original trilogy, those movies aren't like the original trilogy. They're not special. They're not unique. They're just bad pieces of garbage that explain parts of the universe that don't need to be explained. These movies are not the same as that because they're not incomprehensible pieces of garbage with terrible acting, terrible effects, and things like that. But they are like it in the sense that you don't need to watch these movies. You never need to watch these movies. You could just watch Lord of the Rings, and you would get all the experience you need from watching this franchise because it's just nothing. And I know there's a Hobbit book, but that is different because the Hobbit book was written before the Lord of the Rings book. So that's why it is kind of necessary to watch the Hobbit or read the Hobbit book before you read the Lord of the Rings book. So it's not the same as the movies because they were made under different circumstances. So I'm just saying. All right, bye guys.